Hello everyone. Creating AI agents used to be a difficult job. You had to host them, scale them, create APIs, and manage all the infrastructure just to make one agent work. But now things have changed. With Azure AI Agent Service, you can build powerful agents without worrying about the infrastructure. Microsoft runs the platform for you, so you only focus on the agent logic and the tools. And this is huge because most of the AI projects start as a quick demos. For example, you create a chatbot or a single assistant. But as soon as you need to create an agent which has to do more things like query a SQL database, search the web or search the internet or send an email, and all this complexity creates the roadblock. You need the orchestration, scaling, monitoring, enterprise level security, and that's where the people usually get stuck. So now using the Azure AI agent service, everything is changed. It gives you a managed foundation where you don't worry about the underlying infrastructure. So hosting, scaling, security, as well as the observability are all built in. You just design the agents, tell them what they should do, and connect the tools. And here's the part I really like actually, it's all inside the Azure AI Foundry. That means you don't need to know the coding to start. You can just go into the Azure AI Foundry portal, create an AI agent through the UI, connect it to the knowledge tools or the action tools, and even build a multi-agent setup or multi-agent application where agents talk to each other. So now creating an agent is just a click away, and it's very simple to get started. So if you want to just test and play with it, there is a playground which is available in Azure AI Foundry. You can run the conversations, trigger the actions, see how the agents respond. So all this can be done without even deploying into any production or any application. So now let's understand the main building blocks for the AI agents in the Azure AI agent service. So the first one is the knowledge tools. These let your agent access the data, things like the documents in Azure Storage or in Azure AI Search Service. So you don't even have to create an Azure AI Search Service. You have to just upload the document and it will do the indexing, vectorization, and everything. And your agent will answer your questions based on not only the general knowledge but from the document intelligence. Now the second one is the action tools. Now your agent should have the ability to act, and this is done by the action tools, where now you can query a database, call a logic app, or hit an API or send an email. And finally, the multi-agent option. Instead of just creating one giant agent, you create the small specialized agent and then connect them under an orchestrator and finally get a desired output from the team of the agent. So let's talk about the bigger picture. So Azure AI Agent Service gives you a no-code managed environment inside Azure AI Foundry. You can spin up the agents quickly, connect them into your tools, test in the playground, and scale them into the production with all the enterprise control built in. So in this video, I'll show you the look and feel of Azure AI Agent Service and then actually build a set of agents, connect them together, and run a complete workflow setup step by step. So we'll be creating a small real world project which is like a property management system. So I'll provide more details later, but before that I want to show you how to deploy Azure AI agents in Azure portal. I'm logged into Azure portal now, and let's start with the creation of Azure AI Foundry. So let's go to Azure AI Foundry, create a new one. I'll create a new resource group, rg-AI agent, and let's name it as Shailendra AI Agent Hub 01, East US2 region, and let's name the project as Shailendra AI Agent project. So we'll keep everything default and then deploy the Azure AI Foundry Hub as well as the project. So it's running the validation now. Once the validation is done, and create. So now the deployment has started. I'll pause the video and we'll be back once it's done. So the hub and the project is deployed now. Let's go to the resource which is Azure AI Foundry Hub, and let's go to Azure AI Foundry portal. So I am in the Azure AI Foundry portal and specifically in the project which we have created. So on the left side, if you'll see, there is an option of agents. So when you click here, it will ask you to deploy the model first, because this is a new project, we haven't deployed any model, so it will just provide us the models which are supported. So these are the models which are supported by Azure AI Foundry Hub. These are all Azure OpenAI models. So let's go with GPT-4o, confirm. I'll just customize it a little bit, increase the token size, because we are going to create a multi-agent application. So the model is deployed, which you can see here. If you go to the models, GPT-4o model is deployed. And as soon as you click on the agents, an agent is created. So there is one agent which is created, and you can try in the playground. You can go to the playground, agents playground. So if I'll write something, so it's just responding like a normal chatbot. Okay. So now let's check how this agent works. So there is a model which is deployed. It's using that model. This is the agent ID which is created. You can change the name to anything. Then you provide the instructions. These are the system prompts which you are providing. So how the agent will behave, system message or instructions. This is the description for you. It's just so that you know what is the purpose of this agent. Then there are knowledge tools, action tools, and connected agents. So knowledge tools, when you upload the files, you get the AI agent search service by default, which is managed by the Azure AI agent service itself. And you don't have to do anything there. You can create your own Azure AI search service, and that will take care of everything. You can connect to Microsoft Fabric, SharePoint, Bing search, if you want to do the internet search, TripAdvisor and other application which you can connect. Now comes the action tools. As the name suggests, the different actions you can take. So one is the code interpreter. If you have some Excel file or some documents where you have to interpret the code, you can just upload it directly here. It will work for you. Another one is the Open API 3.0 specified tool. So that means if the tools are not built here, you can use the Open API standard, use the API keys and everything, and it will work for you perfectly. Then the Azure Logic Apps. So these are the different Logic App actions or the workflows which are already provided. You have to just create them. And then the connected agents. And here you can connect different agents with each other. The temperature and top P, it's how the randomness or the response will be provided. It's based on that. You can even enable the voice mode. However, it's only available in voice live APIs or the playground, which I have another video for this. You can always check that. So now you have a good understanding of how AI agents are created in Azure AI Agent Service in Azure AI Foundry. So next step is, let's create a real-time project so that you can understand how these tools connect, and finally how we can create a multi-AI agent application. So I am going to create a real estate lease renewal or property management system, which is a multi-agent system. One will be the manager agent, and then there will be 4 different agents. SQL agent, which will do the SQL queries, web agent, which will do the web search, document agent, which will look information from the document, and the email agent, which will send an email. So now let's understand this in more detail. So there is a property manager who has to check which tenant lease is going to be renewed. So the property manager will ask the manager agent, okay, provide me the list of the tenants whose lease is going to expire. So the manager agent will connect to the SQL agent, get the list. Then the next step will be, because the lease is expiring, so there will be an increase in the rent. So the web agent will look for the average rent for that area currently. Then the document agent will provide the options In case you want to move out, you don't want to proceed further or renew the lease, then what are the steps you have to take? Yeah, how you can claim your bond and all those details, and the email agent will collate all the information and send it to the user or the tenant. So now, instead of having the multiple people who doing this work, this will be done automatically, and there will be only one property manager who will just ask the question to the manager agent, and everything will be done by the manager agent in the backend. So let's start with the creation of all these agents, and then we'll finally create the manager agent. So now you can go to the agents. So let's click on this agent. First, let's change the name to SQL. So it's a SQL agent, straightforward name, and I'll copy paste some information. Let me make it bigger. Okay. So it's a SQL agent. I have a SQL database which is already created, and it has a table named as the tenant leases table. So it has multiple information which it can pull. And now what we are doing is we are providing the schema that it has tenant ID, full name, email, phone, and all those details. So it has to run the query and get the details. But these are just the instructions. What we have to do is connect to the action tool. So click on the action tool, go to the logic app, and there is an option of execute SQL query on a database. So if you'll click here, you have to provide the name, action, all those details you have to provide. Then you have to authenticate to the SQL server. Then you have to provide the SQL server details, which will come in the drop down, and then done. So all this thing is already been done here. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly select the get lease expiring, and it has all the details already which I was just showing you. So because I have to create a connection, use the SQL credentials, so that is already done in the background. You can always click on the connect and provide all those details there. So it's getting all the schema by itself and create. So let's quickly test this. Try in the playground. Provide me the list of tenants whose lease is expiring in September 2025. So as you can see, it's pulling out the details directly from here. What I've done is I've just used my email ID +1, use the multiple alias in the database, and it has pulled that information. So, and when you click here, view run info, it has done the tool calling. It went to logic app, found that information, and provided to me. So now one of our agent is working. So SQL agent is working now. Let's create another agent. Either you can create from here or go to the agents, create a new one. You can use the different model, but we'll use the same model. So now the another agent will be web agent. And I'll copy paste the system message. So what is the purpose of this is it just check the information in the web based on the suburb as well as the bedroom count, and then provide the details. So how much is the average rent right now? so that the tenant can decide. When we send an email, tenant can decide, so this is the market price right now, do you want to increase or renew the lease, or you want to move out? So then it will be their choice. There is an option of using the Bing search. However, there is a limitation on certain accounts or subscriptions that you cannot use the Bing search because it's a paid service. And if there are credits or Visual Studio subscription, then it's not allowed. So I can't use it. So what I've done is I've used an alternative Google SERP API. So you can look for it, SERP API. It's from Google. You can create your credentials and use it. It's a web search. So I'm using this, and for this, what you have to do is you have to first create your credentials. You have to go to the management center, connected resources, create a new connection, go to the end. You can use the SERP, but you have to provide the custom keys. So what I'm going to do is I will provide the custom keys here. I'll pause the video. I'll just quickly provide it here and add the connection. So I've created a new connection, SERP API 1. So I've provided the key, SERP API key, and let's go back to the project. Let's go back to agents, select our web agent. Let's again go back to action tools. Now, because SERP API is not directly available, so what we have to do is open API 3.0. So let's provide the name as web search. And next. Now in the connection, we have to choose the connection and then provide the details, which is the schema. So this is the schema, and you have to define what API key you have defined. So this is how I named it, API key. And you have to just define this schema. Next, create tool, and it's created. So now the web search tool is created. Let's create another agent, the document agent. So let's name it as document agent. And system message for this document agent is that it just look for specific information, that how to get the bond when you are moving out, or what are the things or the other formalities that you have to take care. And for this, what we are going to do is we have to add the knowledge tool, upload the file. We'll directly upload the file here, renters guide, which is, so it's Australia Victoria renters guide. So we'll upload it here and it will provide information. So now we have 3 agents created. Let's go with another one and let's name it as the email agent. And there is a big system message for it because we want it to send a proper email. So what it's doing, it's using the email tool and then getting some details, for example, name, email, current rent, average rent, and address, and create an email using all the details from the SQL, from web, from document, and send a proper email to the tenant. Now let's go to the action tools, and in Azure Logic app there is an option of sending an email, which is send email using Outlook. So you have to provide these details. Go next, authenticate, you have to connect. However, I have already done this, and you don't have to do anything else. Just connect it to your Office 365 email and it's done. So I am going to use directly which I have created, and this creates a consumption logic app in the backend. So click on email tool and create. So now it should be sending an email. So now 4 agents are created. Now the last one, which is a manager agent. Let's name it as manager. And the information provided here is, system message provided here is that first it has to get the detail from the SQL agent, then search the web, search the document, and then send email. And it has to follow a proper flow or process. So that will take care. Now, because this is the only the system instructions, and how will it connect to the other agent? And there is an option of connecting agents. So now when you have to connect the agent, you have to provide some information how you will call that in that agent. So now start with the SQL agent. We have to provide a specific name. So let's name it as SQL lease agent. And what it does is it fetches the information from tenant leases and provide the list of the details of the tenants. So add it. So let's add another one. And this time let's add the web agent. Let's name it as web rent agent, and it finds the average weekly rent. It's getting added. As you can see, it's saving your data. And let's do the document one. So it's a document tenancy agent, and it provides some steps and guidance for the tenants during the lease renewal. And the last one will be the email sender agent, and it sends email using the name, email, current rent, market rent, and the renewal steps. And this is the email one, and let's add. So all the four agents are added now. So now it's time to test it, whether it's working or not. Let's see. So let's try in the playground. So now we are in the playground and the manager agent. Let's start with hi. Whose lease is going to expire in September 2025. So now it should provide me the list, and then I can just proceed with the one which I want to. So now there are two persons, Aman Gupta and Daniel. So let's go with Aman. So would you like to proceed with any of them? I'll just say Aman. Nothing much. And here it did the tool calling and it connected with the SQL. Now other things are happening in the background. So now it's referencing. It will take a bit of a time, couple of seconds or a minute also. And because now it's going through all the agents and then it has to send an email. So I'll pause the video and we'll be back once it's done. Whose lease is expiring? So Aman Gupta, I just provided Aman, and it's saying, so these are all the details. Do you want to send? I say yes. And now it will send all those details. So let's click check the run. It did the multiple tool calling here. So the connected agent. So SQL lease agent. So first it went to the SQL, then the web, and then finally the document one. And now it's asking us to send the email. So when we said yes, it should be going to the email agent and then just sending an email. So let's see. Send an email directly to Aman Gupta, and I didn't do anything special. It's just got the list, provided the name, and it has sent the email. Let me quickly open my email and show it to you. So I got an email. I have created an alias, as you can see, +1. So and I got an email. I know the formatting is not good, but I can use the HTML or Markdown or anything. So it's completely your call how you want to format it. Now what it's doing is it's telling first it's lease renewal notice for the address, and then it's going to renew. Below are the details: current weekly rent, average weekly rent in your area, and the proposed new weekly rent because there is a 10% increase, and some details from the documentation. So all that information collated together and is provided here. So that's great. And if you want to deploy this in your application, you have to just check this code and it will help you deploy this. This will give a good understanding, but then you have to create a chat application so that it works in a loop. So now to summarize this video, I have provided a deep dive information on what is Azure AI Agent service, how you can create AI agents, how you can use the different tools with your agents, and then create a multi-agent application where all the agents work together based on the information provided or instructions provided by the orchestrator agent. And I have created a real world small project, which is a property management project where all the agents work together and provided an information and sent an email to the tenant. So that's all I wanted to show in this video. I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much.